Hey now, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and today we're going to take a look at a little micro game called Too Many Cinderellas. Now this game was originally released in Japan from the company Taki Kanai Games and designers Nobutaki Dogen and Nao Shimamura. And in fact, that is the version of the game that I have in my hands today that I'm going to do an overview of for you. However, an English language version of the game is seeking funding on Kickstarter very soon from the company Brawl Games. And when that campaign launches, I'm going to have a link at the bottom of the screen and then down in the comment section. If you like what you see in the rest of this video, I encourage you to go to that page when it launches, get more information, and consider backing the project. Now, Too Many Cinderellas, as the name implies, has a theme set in the fairy tale world of Cinderella. Cinderella has just fled the ball, the prince has fallen madly in love with her, she's left behind her glass slipper, and now the prince is running around the city like a madman trying to find his Cinderella. Now, the players in the game, for 2 to 4 players, are people who have loved ones or friends who are possible candidates to be Cinderella, and you want your friend or loved one to be the one that the prince chooses. But it's not quite that simple. You have to spread rumors and try to make the prince think that you actually have his Cinderella. You have to say, oh, she's not blonde, or oh, she's not brunette, or oh, she's not a she at all, it's actually a guy, or they don't wear glasses, or they're not royalty, or they are royalty, or they're possibly a cat. These are all the different things that you're trying to trick the prince into believing if you want to be successful and win the game. And of course, you have the ability to reject the rumors that the other players submit. Sounds a little confusing, but trust me, it's actually very simple and straightforward. So we're going to do a brief overview of how the game is played with the Japanese version of the game. And then we're going to come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, I'm going to give you a very brief overview of Too Many Cinderellas. This game was originally released in Japan, and that is the edition of the game that we're going to take a look at today, but a new English language edition of the game will be releasing soon from Brawl Games and is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter, or will be soon. When the project launches, I'll have a link down at the bottom of the screen and also down in the comment section. If you like what you see here, I urge you to go to the campaign page, find out more information, and then consider pledging to the campaign. Now, Too Many Cinderellas is a competitive game for 2 to 4 players, based, of course, on the legend of Cinderella. The prince is frantically running around the city with the glass slipper looking for his Cinderella, and you are a patron with a friend or family member or loved one who you want to be the one that the prince chooses as Cinderella. But of course, in order to do that, you're going to have to spread some rumors as to who Cinderella is or isn't at the time. Now, these are the components that you see in the game, but what I want to stress here is that, like I said, this is the Japanese edition of the game, and in the new English language edition, the main artwork will be the same. However, some of the graphic design elements will change, and I'm going to flash some images here of what the new cards are going to look like. Each player has a set of OK and no tokens. Those will look a little bit different in the new edition as well. And there's also going to be scoring tokens because the game is very quick and you can play it many times in sequence and see who has the best score. There's also this no token, which it pertains particularly to one of the special cards in the deck, so no player is going to start off with that. And you have your deck of 18 Cinderella cards. Now, at the start of the game, each player is going to be dealt out 4 of those Cinderella cards, and the rest of the cards are going to be dealt here. 2-player games work a little bit differently, so I'll explain that last. But for a 3 or 4-player game, you'll get your hand of 4 cards, and the first thing that you need to do is spread rumors about who Cinderella is, which is trying to tell the prince what traits Cinderella may or may not have in order to help him define his choice. You're going to go through 2 rounds of this rumor mongering with each player essentially putting down 2 of their cards as rumors. Once everyone has done that, then you take 1 more card off the top of the deck as a rumor, and then it gets down to the final phase of the game where the prince actually chooses. Now, how does all of that work? Now, on each of the Cinderella cards, you have 2 important bits of information here. Obviously, you have the artwork, but up in the top corner are the stats that will be used if this person on the card is used as a candidate for Cinderella. The first is the number in the corner, which is the rank. The lower the number, the higher the rank. And that's going to be important when the prince decides who Cinderella is, because whenever there's a tie, you go with the higher rank. Then you have the stats for this person. So they're a teen, they like wine and rice. And obviously this is the highest ranked card, and that's the person who's most closely resembles Cinderella from the fairy tale. Now the bottom of the card is used when you're using this card as a rumor. If you use this card as a rumor, you ignore everything else in the card and you're only looking at the bottom part. And vice versa if this is your candidate for Cinderella. So here it says not 16, 17, or 18. So what this means is that when you're going through the rumor phase and it's your turn to lay down a card, you could lay down this card, and that would mean that Cinderella is not the 16, 17, or 18 ranked card. But that doesn't just happen. All players have a chance to say yay or nay to that card. You're going to take both of your tokens, the okay and no tokens, put one in your hand, and then simultaneously each player is going to reveal the token that they chose. If everyone said okay, then that trait is going to go through, meaning that Cinderella will not be 16, 17, or 18. However, if even one person said no, all of the no tokens are going to be put down onto that card, and now that rumor is eliminated from contention, which means it is possible that Cinderella will be 16, 17, or 18. But you only have one no token for the rest of the game, so if you use it now, you won't be able to get it back. Now, and then each player is going to do this in turn order twice, meaning that there will be anywhere from 6 to 8 cards, depending on the number of players, down there on the table. Let's take a look at some of the other cards just to give you a taste of what they're like. Now this one, if used as a candidate for Cinderella, is actually a guy, so it says that up here, and a teen. And the criteria here is not senior if used as a rumor. Here's another one that says not royalty if used as a rumor. And the last one I'll show you here is not male if you use this card as a rumor. So like I said, you're going to keep going around doing this, putting out cards and potentially having them either rejected or approved as traits for the princess or for Cinderella. Now, once everyone has done this and you're going to have 6 to 8 cards down on the table as rumors, then you're going to have one more, which is the court informant. Represents the court informant from the top of the deck. Someone else who is partial to the prince gives out a rumor as well. So you'll randomly draw the card from the top of the remaining cards, and then every player once again has a chance to vote as to whether that's a legit trait of Cinderella or not. Once this is done, it is time for the prince to make his decision. Each player is going to take one of the 2 remaining cards that's in their hand, simultaneously choose them, and then reveal them. And whichever player actually has a card that fits whatever the traits are that for Cinderella, then that is going to be the winner of the game. Ties go to the person who has the highest rank. So in other words, let's say that we're in a 3-player game, and these motions passed. These motions did not pass, and these motions did pass. That means that Cinderella can not like beer, cannot be the 1, 2, 3, or 4, and cannot be blonde. So, just to give an example, let's see. This would actually be a suitable candidate for Cinderella. So, not blonde, doesn't like beer, and is not the 1, 2, 3, or 4. So, this elderly lady here could be potential candidate for Cinderella if no one else also has a potential candidate that is a higher rank and therefore lower number than she is. So whoever gets chosen is going to be the winner. Now there's a few cards that kind of switch things up a bit and are different from all the other cards, and I'll show you those now. The number 2 rank card has a special ability that lets you take that white no token that I referred to earlier and put it out onto one of the the Cinderella cards that was previously laid out on the table as a rumor. Now, it could be a card that does not already have one of the no tokens on it, and therefore it becomes invalid, or you could even double up on a card that already has a no token. Why would you do that? Well, because the 3 card lets you remove a no token from a card. So if you really don't want a trait to go through, you might double up on the no tokens just to keep it that way in case someone else has this card. And the last card I'll show you is also the funniest one, the 18 card, the lowest ranked card, which is a cat. she actually reverses the rank, meaning that the lowest number is actually the lowest rank, whereas the highest number is the highest rank. Therefore, if you can actually play this card as a rumor instead of as a candidate for princess, ironically, that would have made her the best candidate for princess, potentially. Now, a two-player game, like I mentioned before, is going to work a little bit different. You still go through the rumor phase as normal with each of you laying down cards. However, in between each player, each phase of the players laying down cards, the two players laying down cards, you have to draw a card representing the informant from the Cinderella deck. And you have to do this 3 times, which means that there's going to be 3 cards from the informants and then 2 cards from each of the players, and then you resolve the prince phase as normal. That's just a very brief look at Too Many Cinderellas. Now, let's go ahead and get to my final thoughts.
Now, Japanese micro card games are all the rage nowadays, like the uber popular Love Letter, and I think that the reason for that is several traits that a lot of these bigger, more grandiose board games just can't compete with. They're fast, they leave a very small footprint, so they're very portable. They are very simple to teach, but they have a surprising amount of depth to their gameplay. And I think that Too Many Cinderellas possesses all of these different traits. You can have this game up and running in 5 minutes with any group of gamers, even if it's people who have never played the game before, or people who are not, as we say, gamerly gamers, who are into modern board and card games. It's very, very simple to teach. Even if you have young kids or family members who don't typically play games, you should have this up and running in 5 minutes. And even if they're still a little bit confused, the game itself is only like 10 minutes long, even for your first or second game. So after their first game, they'll be like, oh, okay, I kind of understand what's going on now, and they'll do better next time, and you can play right away because it's just that fast. And as far as the actual gameplay goes, like I said, there's a surprising amount of depth here because you have important decisions to make. You have these 4 cards in your hand, and it's tight. You know that you are going to have to use 2 of them as rumors. So which 2 are you going to use? Which 2 are you going to try to hold on to and maintain as candidates for this vote from the prince? And not knowing what your opponents are going to do and what traits they're going to try to eliminate, knowing that you only have that 1 no token to use. And by the way, you have that last blind draw from the remaining cards in the deck. How are you going to react to that? Is it worth keep holding on to that no token till the very end in case you don't like what that card is? There's also the special ability cards that you can't really account for unless you have them, but if your opponents have them, you just don't know. So there is some sort of bluffing and making your opponent think that you might be going for a different type of candidate in order to fake them out and maybe make them do something they think is optimal but is really helping you. So that's where the surprising amount of depth comes from. But remember that, again, this game is only like 10 minutes long. So if all of your plans go awry, it's very simple to reset the game, play again, and you haven't really lost that much time. So in that regard, it's definitely a quirky game as well as far as the theme goes. It's a unique theme that you don't see too much of, and that's going to appeal to a lot of people because it does have that fairy tale theme to it. And even though because of how short the game is, you may not think it's very thematic, it's really brought out by the artwork. Now, of course, I played and previewed the original Japanese artwork of the game, but as you saw from the images I flashed of the upcoming new artwork, has a very fairy tale theme to it that's going to appeal to a lot of people. I like all the different traits that are on the cards that you are trying to eliminate because it gives more of a thematic flair to it as well, and also the fact that they went with having the cat sort of as a joke, but it's really funny if you can pull that off, and also the fact that you have the male and the female aspects of it just to sort of flesh out the narrative of the original fairy tale in perhaps directions you didn't think about. So there's a surprising amount of game in that very small box. And if this is the type of game that appeals to you and that you think might appeal to your family, then I'm going to have a link to the campaign when it launches at the bottom of the screen and then down in the comment section. I would encourage you to go to the campaign page, find out some more information and more information about how the game is played and what the final details of the game will be. And if you like what you see, consider backing the campaign. That is Too Many Cinderellas, soon to be released in English from Grail Games. My name is Nick, this has been Board Game Brawl, and I'm reminding you to get out there and game every day and in every way. Take care.